No Movies in Hell.
And I'm LaClaw Scott, and today we are reviewing The Northman.
Robert Eggers. I really like The Witch. I didn't know who he was before The Witch. I kind of thought The Witch was very small. I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it streaming at home. I guess I missed it coming out in the theater.
Oh, same.
But I liked it. And then The Lighthouse I liked less because it's a little thin on story, right? Like it's the descent into madness and then that's it. So The Northman, we've been seeing trailers for The Northman forever. Great cast,
Yes.
Big budget. So this is probably the most money he's ever had to make a movie. And it shows, like, he definitely spent it in ways that you can see. I did have high expectations for this movie. Like, it looked like it was going to be really good. So I saw it yesterday or the day before. So it's still pretty fresh in my mind. I really liked it. I thought it was his best movie, which arguably, I guess, maybe The Witch was as good if you had given The Witch as much money as you gave this movie, then maybe that would have been, this on par. But with the budget he had, this was by far his best movie.
Yeah, maybe Nicole Kidman being a part of the cast may have upped the ante in terms of budget. I really liked it. I'm gonna see it again.
Okay.
Same with me. I saw The Witch at home, or I think it was on Netflix. After hearing that it's a really good movie, I was like, okay, this is great. Saw The Lighthouse in theaters, and I like it. I think it's definitely different. And so hearing about this movie and then knowing, the cast, I'm a huge Bjork fan. So it was great seeing it. I saw it at Alamo, and they always have like curated trailers prior to the film. And there was a lot of Bjork music videos and like clips and things, as well as epic movie trailers from like those movies in the 80s. So like Conan the Barbarian and Beastmaster, and just to set the scene. I thought it was great. There were some scenes like that were really beautiful. They're just the way that it was shot was just amazing. And I'm like, why don't people do this more often especially if you're filming at night? I'm unfamiliar with the story other than, it's a version of Hamlet, but apparently the mythology or the story actually is pre-Hamlet, so pre-Shakespeare, and then adapted. That was pretty cool to hear. It's pretty exciting. I'm actually very excited to see how many people go and see it. It's another notch for A24 because they're coming out the gate with some really great films. So yeah, curious to see how this goes, and I am recommending it. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely recommending this to people. Love Bjork too. I think that woman never ages.
She doesn't.
Looks like she just has like there's not like she just looks exactly the same as she did in Dancer in the Dark, which is the last movie I saw her in.
Same.
And I want to say that I remember after that movie, she said she wasn't going to do any more movies. So excited that she was back on board for this. I did think that there were a couple things that didn't really in the story that didn't really 100% make sense.
Okay, I want to hear about it.
Okay, so there will be spoilers. So if you don't want any spoilers, turn off now. Fyodor's, like Nicole Kidman, her character says, Fyodor loved me. He loved me even though he knew my past. It seemed like she really believed that they had this relationship that was a mutual affection. And, one of the things that she said about Emleth.
Yeah, I can never remember the names. I'm terrible at remember the names.
Well, it sounds like Hamlet, but it's not. Yes. It's like Amleth. I think. So the thing with the Ethan Hawke character is that he slept around a lot, right? Like he endured her because she had a son for him, but he didn't really love her. But then Fyodor, as soon as Anya Joy Taylor shows up, or Anya Taylor, anyway, as soon as, what's her name? Olga? Yeah. As soon as Olga shows up, he's like on that, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like, does he really love you?
Well, it's interesting. I thought that she was making it, wanted to temper his expectations about how grand his dad was. It was trying to find these like mean-spirited words to kind of hurt him because she didn't anticipate that he'd be alive. And he didn't really know, even as a child, her backstory. So even in that first scene where the young Northman, I think, walks in, goes to his mom's chamber, and she's very much like, why didn't you knock before you came in, etc. Like, is she trying to hide something? And it was clear that she was a slave before she became queen, but it seems like she was pretty hell-bent on keeping that status of queen, even to her child, which was very disturbing. End well, knowing that, she's still in power as a queen, and she has given birth to her children. And it's funny because I guess she was the mother of, oh gosh, the second son who was in command, and that was still the uncle's child. So it's kind of bizarre.
Well, and that's the other thing. So what happened to Fyodor's first wife? Like, he comes home to the banquet, right? He presents this baby. He's like, this is my son.
Yeah.
But you don't really know. Like, right away, he kills his brother and takes Nicole Kidman. So what happened to that? The woman who like just had that baby?
Yeah. I mean, maybe it was her, or maybe it was, I'm thinking back to like the Green Knight and like the scenes where some of the, the lower caste women actually had children, and they just took them and were like, hey, you're gonna go to, you're gonna have a better life than your mother. So yeah, that was kind of unknown as well.
Yes. The other thing that like as the story went on, like, so in the past I felt like his movies have been very simple. The storyline was just kind of like someone is descending into madness, the end. And so this had many more twists in it than I anticipated, which I was very like pleasantly surprised that it kept going, because I knew it was 2.5 hours, or almost 2.5 hours, 2:17, I think. And as soon as they said his name, like even in the trailer, you can see it's part, it has definite tendencies towards Hamlet, right? But then when it switched over to like Macbeth, and the Nicole Kidman's like, we can rule together, and like, the power hungry female, like I was like, okay. The Valkyrie scene, which is in the trailer, but you think is like, I don't know how, like, in it, because his movies are always about people descending into madness, you just think that's sort of like this hallucination, but somehow he is spirited away and magically heals from the brutal beating that he's taken. He says to Olga, you came back for me. But the Valkyrie is not Olga.
No,
it's a different person. Yeah. So that I was like, well, how did that happen? And if you watch, the Metropolitan Opera does the Ring cycle every few years. It's this massive production. It's multi like performance. Some of them are like 4.5, 5 hours long. They have this amazing set. If you're ever going to see like something that is the ultimate opera experience, I would say this is it. But the Ring cycle is the most complete telling I've ever seen of this mythology. And so it was following that a lot. So the Valkyrie comes and rescues the battered hero, but in the Ring cycle, he is in love with the Valkyrie. So the fact that they brought someone else in to be that role was weird to me.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be her, or Olga. I thought Olga was going to be the Valkyrie, and then another time I was like, okay, that's not her. But then after the movie, I said, why does the Valkyrie have braces?
Right.
And Nate's like, no, actually they're ruins on her teeth. But going back to the point, I think that that was him thinking that, things were over. He was being carried to Valhalla when actually Olga was taking him, as she said, not that far, but to a hot springs to like heal. He felt like out of body experience. And it's so, I love how this movie actually toggles between the very supernatural and like just normal things. So it's one, it's, we really don't have a time frame for things. Like it seemed like he healed pretty overnight, but then again, the ravens got him down. So it's like,
Right.
it's one of those things where, animals are helping out. However, you don't know how long things have taken, and you don't have a time frame because, everybody's hair kind of looks the same. People are very dirty. Their clothing is very worn. There are things that happen. No, I completely agree about the whole, like, is he dying? Is he dead? Is this kind of like, there is the rest of the film or the third act kind of a manifestation of what he thinks should happen?
Glad I watched it. I probably won't watch it again. I still haven't gone back to see Everything Everywhere All the Time for the second time. And
Oh yeah, I definitely want to see that before it leaves. This one, it's like I'm seeing it because a friend of mine wants to see it.
Oh.
So I guess go see it. So I was like, sure, I'll see it. And now I'm like, I guess I'm committed to it.
It was beautiful. And I thought that you and I have talked about how much we like Iceland in previous episodes, but there's one scene where they're fighting and the camera pans around and you see the active volcano in the background, and it's beautiful, but it's background, which is where I think it belongs. A lot of times people will spend, they're spending their budget to be on location. They will do very long scenes of like nature's indifference to man. And so you'll have like 5 minutes of, landscape that you didn't need to move the story forward.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I think, I applaud him not doing that. It was beautiful. We saw it. Let's keep going.
Yes.
Because it could have easily been a 3-hour movie if he had done that.
Yeah, if there were more scenes and stuff. Almost like Dune, for example, where it was like, take in the landscape. This is how beautiful, this land is. And yeah, I really like it. It kind of set the frame for what was going to happen, but ultimately the shots were definitely on, the people, the situation. And I appreciated it was like very horizontal shots of like just going around. Yeah, it was I love the cinematography of this film. And I was like, oh man, this is not in the Oscar contention, probably because it's so early in the year.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be interested to see what happens. But it should be, right? Because there were great performances by people in this.
Oh yes, yeah.
Just getting Bjork back is like,
Right. And I mean, she wasn't in the movie for that long, but it was very powerful.
yeah.
And same thing with Willem Dafoe. Like he wasn't in it for a very long time either, but made a very impressive impact, or impression, as they say. Yeah, there are so many things.
The guy who played Fjordur, I had not seen in anything before.
Same. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what he's done. And I also haven't seen any, like, I know that there's a series, the Vikings series that's out. I'm like, oh, maybe these other actors are from, other related storytelling, but
Totally possible. The other thing I thought was interesting is that they left it open for another part 2.
yes. Because yeah, you get the soothsayer says the prophecy. You have like this thing, and you get glimpses of what's going to happen, but still, that can be a whole, generation, 2 generations down the line. So,
right. Good stuff. Let's go to our slides.
Yeah. Curious to see what your scores are. Yeah.
I think we differed a little on
Jewelry and special effects.
and story.
Yes,
So
and story.
for jewelry, I mean, I did think that the jewelry played a part in the overall story. You know, Odin, the not Odin, the ring that his father had,
Mhm.
which Nicole Kidman kept, the necklace that he gives his son, they took from the conquered people that he stole all the silver from.
Yeah.
So I did think that there was a component of that. And, you know, they did do other jewelry. Like it was very obvious, especially in that like scene where they're raiding the village and they have the arm bracelets.
Yes, yes.
The
Or he was like the bear.
Yeah.
No, I thought the jewelry representation was good, but for I guess yeah, for me, I really wasn't keeping my eye out on it, but I knew like there were certain shields and brooches that were related to like the family.
The story, I only gave it a 2 because even though it was better than the rest of his stories or more elaborate than the rest of his stories, it's still, I mean, he's drawn a lot from existing stories. He's not making this up on his own.
Mhm.
So he's getting it primarily from the mythology, which is fine, but I feel like you get more credit if you make something up that's new.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I gave it a 3 because I thought that I guess this interpretation was pretty elaborate. I guess it's kind of the score is kind of appended to cinematography because there's so many things, and for example, special effects. Because I think that it just brought out a lot more. It was like you can contextualize it a lot and you can feel a lot of kind of what is going through or what's being happening and what characters are going through.
Definitely.
Let's see. So for special effects, I gave it a 3. I really loved the lighting, especially during the evening shots. Like it really gave like the blue cast that was kind of like this blue pastel over everyone just made it that more amazing. Like there's no excuse of why you can't shoot at night. And I'm pretty sure that when they shot in Iceland, it probably got dark faster or, but a lot of the most important and prescient scenes happen at night. They did a very good job at shooting it. I was just like overwhelmingly surprised. And then also when they basically went into the like hut or sauna to see the soothsayer, and it became like this whole like experience. And it kind of reminded me of The Witch when at the end it's like everybody's levitating. And so you have this kind of ideal where, you are probably in a trance, you're trying to, things are happening. It's clear that the king is hurt. He's trying to set his son up for success or, be the next king. And it's kind of like this passing of the torch. I thought that was pretty neat. And also kind of this surrealistic view of a family tree. So I thought that was really, really neat. It's kind of like you're at the astral plane and you're seeing like the northern lights, and then like you're seeing all these illuminated people in your family tree. I just thought it was great.
Yeah, that was very cool. I did give it a 3 for cinematography because I felt like a lot of that stuff crosses over there. And I also gave it a 3 for acting because I thought mostly I feel like everyone did a great job in terms of what their role was, but I think mostly I was swayed by the fact that Bjork is back. And she did such a great job in her role. Like honestly, if you hadn't told me Bjork was in it, I would have never known that was her.
Oh, yeah. I
So
thought acting was good. I thought there was one particular character that did a little overacting, even when they didn't have scenes. I'm not going to get into it. I don't want to get dragged. But obviously, I thought Bjork did a very great job. Ethan Hawke is great, and Alexander Skarsgård did amazing. So
yeah, like Ethan Hawke is also in a movie coming out soon, The Black Phone.
yeah, they keep on pushing that back.
So it's interesting
yeah.
that he would be in this. I don't know. Like it seems it's very diverse.
Oh yeah, he's also in Moon Knight,
Oh,
Marvel series. So he's doing a lot.
all right. Yeah, I feel like I hadn't seen him for a while. Like the last thing I saw him in was that movie where he was the priest. I can't remember what it's called. So
I saw
yeah,
him in real life before the pandemic, seeing Oklahoma with his family at the Center
okay,
in the Square. It was like January of 2020, I think.
nice. I don't know who like is his family like does that include Uma Thurman still or no?
No, I don't think so. But his daughter, who is in Stranger Things, was there, or their daughter, actually.
Oh, I didn't realize he had a daughter who was in acting.
Hmm.
All right, cool. And yeah, Stranger Things, I'm starting to see trailers for and promos for, so I guess that's coming soon.
Yeah,
Or is it
end
out
of
already?
May.
May,
May,
okay.
and literally like the weekend of Memorial Day. And I read something yesterday that was like each episode was $30 million budget. So they
No,
poured a lot into this.
that seems like too much.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of, special effects.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds like it. But also, I don't know. I mean, I guess, yeah, sure. Why not? Also, I feel like for that show, the cast is getting really big.
Yes, that's very true. Or the kids are
Just,
getting older and like they're choosing different projects, and yeah.
yeah. So, all right, looking forward to that then. Do you have anything to plug at the end of this episode?
Unfortunately, no. I feel like I'm all caught up on films at the moment. um, so looking out for next spring films, starting to do some research on new spring films. How about yourself? Do you have anything to plug?
Not that I can think of. Hopefully soon, though. Well, you know, it is spring. Things are starting to move around. I can feel like the changes in the social circles, right? Like people are
Yeah.
getting more active. So, yeah, hopefully I'll have new news about something pretty soon.
Yay. Oh, you know what? I did want to mention there is like oh my gosh, I forgot the name of this film. I feel like it's just an acronym anyway, but it's an Indian film that's doing very well. I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be at, or is probably currently is at, Times Square Empire. I'll find the information and send it over to you. I think it's probably something that we should check out.
There is a movie. It's funny because there is a movie that's at Times Square now. It's been there for a couple of weeks, which is
Hmm.
surprising because they don't usually last that long if they're
Hmm.
foreign language. It is Indian and it has two showings. There's one that's listed and it doesn't really say anything about the language, but the other one is listed and it says in Hindi.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that means there are no subtitles for that one. You just have to watch it in the native language. So I was like, that's interesting and weird. But okay.
Yeah, I'd be interested in going. I feel like, yeah, Times Square, and then maybe there might be the Regal Theater in Williamsburg that also shows Hindi films.
Oh, and there's I guess they're doing a thing for Hung Soo. He's a South Korean filmmaker, and Film at Lincoln Center is doing a big thing with him in early May. They did one in early April, but I missed it completely. But they're doing it again, or part two of it in early May. So I think I'm going to try to see some part of that as well.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.